iHeart. Matter of fact, it says here, health officials in Chicago confirmed a case of measles in Chicago. People may have been exposed to measles downtown at the UIC and at the public transit this week. Hear about that one? Measles outbreak?
No, I haven't. Wow.
I never had them.
But the thing is, you get measles nowadays, like, you get rashes for a week, it goes away. It really, it ain't even harmful. I mean, it's better to definitely not have them, don't get me wrong.
I had chickenpox, but I didn't have the measles. I had the mumps.
Yeah, I had chickenpox pretty good when I was a kid. I remember that. It was so itchy.
Yeah, and I was out of school for like about a week. Maybe more than that.
Yeah, I think I was too.
Wow. Yeah.
But real quick, Gary, I wanted to enlighten you on this because this is just utterly fascinating. So this author made the two books in the 1890s, right? One's called The Last President, and the other's called The Marvelous Time-Traveling Adventures of Baron Trump.
Yeah, I heard about the time traveler thing.
This is one of the most, if not
Last
the most
President,
bizarre
I think
thing. Yeah, this blew my mind. I've never came across anything like this. In the Time-Traveling Adventures of Baron Trump or whatever book, it talks about how a kid named Baron Trump is being led around by a guy named Don through time and stuff. The portal is in Siberia, and the time-traveling portal is in Siberia, and they live in a place called Castle Trump. Now, yeah, The Last President talks about a guy that had, like, what people thought was, like, a low chance of winning, presidency, but he had, like, his strategy and everything, like, was really good for the people, and he was for the people, and he ended up getting inaugurated. He lived on Fifth Avenue in New York City, the book says. He ends up getting inaugurated against all odds. How is that possible? Now, here comes the kicker. His uncle worked at MIT, or his great uncle, I believe, worked at MIT a long time ago. Alongside Tesla, I believe.
Oh, yeah, Tesla is known for that.
They said that there's theories. I don't know how factual it is. I heard it was factual, but they said that Tesla gave blueprint to time travel to Trump's great uncle, because whenever Tesla died, the FBI or CIA, whatever, FBI was waiting outside his New York City apartment, literally, like, they knew he was on his deathbed, and they were waiting around. As soon as he died, they went up and stole all his blueprints and everything he had already made. Yeah, so that's like the same thing.
And they said that Tesla invented radio and not Marconi. I heard this one.
Yeah.
I thought, what? And then Marconi took the credit for it.
Right.
So now they're going to say that KDKA wasn't the first radio station, which I've heard that one too.
Yeah, I've heard that. Which, I mean, technically, Tesla was the first of a lot of stuff. He had Wi-Fi. He invented Wi-Fi. He had Wi-Fi, like, going back in the day.
Well, see, the thing about it was, though, because I've always learned this, that they didn't have internet until 1969. In 1969, the internet was invented as an emergency thing in case we were getting attacked by nuclear bombs.
Yeah, right. I've heard that.
And it was an underground thing. And then they made it to the public. They didn't make it to the public until 1995 when Windows 95 came out.
Yeah. How's that possible? I mean, do you think I don't really.
So maybe perhaps, and then there's like these old pictures I saw, and I saw this weird video once, and I don't know if it was on YouTube or what it was. It shows a picture in the 1950s of a woman sitting in front of a screen, and then she's on Facebook, and this is 1950 something.
Yeah, that's wild. I've seen them.
It was black and white picture.
Did you ever see the woman on the cell phone in the Charlie Chaplin movie?
Yeah, they said that there was
she's walking in the background, like.
There's another one that says that there was somebody holding a cell phone. I think it was Marilyn Monroe.
Huh. This, just bottom line is there's so much to life and so much to this world that we absolutely know nothing about, and it just fascinates me. It really does.
And I think the reason why coast to coast, I would say this because this is why I think that it's so honored the fact that Art Bell was well recognized, and I think they were afraid of him.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Art
that's
Bell
why a lot of people, he went
was a
into
genius. Hiding. That's why he broadcast from the Nevada desert. They didn't want him coming after. He was a genius.
Absolutely. He was so good to listen to.
I mean, yeah, George Norrie's fine. I like him. And
George Snorri.
Yeah, but there's this other guy that... Did I refer you to him? Okay, now you're on Spreaker with me, so check out this other one. It's down in my followers, and it's called Spaced Out Radio.
Okay, yeah, you did tell me about that.
It comes out of Canada. The guy I talked to once in a while, his name is David Scott, and he's kind of like the Art Bell of Spreaker. This guy is fabulous. He has a lot of paranormal guests. But he does some really good stuff. And he has a once a week with this guy who does UFO things. There's another one, a guy I follow. His name's Eric Cooper. And he's also a big on UFOs and stuff like that. And, I've never seen one, okay? Quite frankly, this town, I don't think there'd ever be one in this town. Because if I was an alien, I would turn around and leave. But, I mean... There's certain hot spots in the country where more UFOs are seen than anywhere else in the country, and that's the Southwest. And it's in the Nevada desert. And the reason for that is because it's coming from Area 51.
Yes, sir. Well, Area 51 technically ain't there anymore. They moved it, from what I heard. But yeah, still in the same vicinity. And yeah, they research and they test and reverse engineer, and I bet you a lot more goes on there than people.
I remember the night I was listening to Art Bell, and that guy flew over Area 51.
That was insane.
That was wild. I was still smoking then. I was up late at night. I had the lights out, and I had nothing but the radio dial light.
Was that Bell or was that?
It was Art Bell.
Okay.
This is when they finally put it on in the Quad Cities. It took them forever to get it on the Quad Cities. WOC picked it up finally. But I used to listen to it out of Chicago at the time. WLS had it on. That's why I discovered Art Bell from a St. Louis radio station that was to come in at night. And now you can't get nothing on AM at night.
It's almost impossible for me to pick it up here. And now that they aren't on iHeart, or they are, whatever that switch they did was awful.
Yeah. And iHeart, didn't they just file for bankruptcy?
I think I did hear that.
They're still operating.
I think their type of bankruptcy is like different than like our type of bankruptcy. They say there's a lot of musicians and people, famous people, that'll file for bankruptcy, but they still got like $4 million.
And
they do it for legal purposes or something. I can't remember.
And why is it that? Okay, tell me if this is right. They impeached Bill Clinton, right? Did they not?
Right, and then he remained in office.
He remained in office.
I don't get it either. That's like one of the things that I never really looked into because I don't really care. But I do at the same time because I'm curious. But I know there is an answer. I've heard it before, but I just can't remember as to why he was allowed to carry out his, remainder.
That blows my mind till this very day.
They stole furniture when they left the White House.
Oh, I heard that one too.
I can't. When the first dozen times I heard it, I wrote it off as like, oh, I heard that joke like plenty of times at this point. But then I was like, oh no, like that actually did happen. Like, wow, that's incredible. That's why I hope that foundation gets audited.
Oh man, they
amount of people that they
wasn't that the desk that Kennedy had that his little boy used to sit under?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I heard that once.
Maybe. I mean, there's a good possibility. I think that desk is like 120 years old.
Yeah. Wow.
It shows. I remember even as a kid when that happened, I was like, yeah, that's his personal life, whatever. But I mean, it really ain't number one. You know, when you're the president of the United States, and number two, you know, he should have came out right off the bat whenever he was first, you know, whenever he came on TV to now, you know, tell everybody. And he was like, I did not have sexual relations. If he was just honest and was like, look, I'm sorry, you know, I'm not perfect. I do have a problem. People would have, I probably would have, you know, gave him some support, you know, but it's the fact that he lied to everybody about it, because they're snakes. They don't know how not to lie. They have a lot of blood on their hands, like a lot.
Yep, crooked.
They'll be exposed. They're going to be exposed.
My dad told me when I was a kid, the politicians, they're crooked as the day is long. He was right.
Yep.
You shake your hand and they'll stick your hand, go around in the pocket and reach for your wallet. That's what my dad used to always say.
It used to be that. Now it's, you know, you shake their hands, they take your money and give it to a foreign country.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what the Democratic Party has been doing. I mean, they're literally funding arms for Iran, uranium. It's just to get, you know, extra tons of money. Tons. 500 billion it was for the uranium.
Wow.
And then you have, like, I think 70% of that went to the Clinton Foundation.
I played before you came on. You have to catch the podcast before I had you on. Played this song by Ray Stevens, and it's called "Come to the USA." It's about the illegal immigration. It's funny.
I'll have to check it out.
I posted it on the Facebook. It's great. I like Ray Stevens.
Yeah, I'll have to check him out.
Yeah. So I'm sorry about that whole situation that few weeks ago. It was just crazy. And now you're putting in for overtime. Do you have to work on Saturdays every week, or is it just that they want you're on call?
Well, you know what? It's kind of crazy. I should have been at work today because they asked me, but I was like, no, because I already picked up tomorrow. But we're just like a few people understaffed, and you know, I really enjoy this job, and I like being there. It's fun. It's a really great atmosphere. I'm around a lot of Pittsburgh Penguins. My boss is Dave Hansen.
Wow.
From Slapshot, and it's an incredible atmosphere. And like, I talk to Marianne Watkins every day. If you don't, I didn't know who she was either. If you get a chance, Google her. She's just incredibly. Her resume is just unbelievable. She taught like Wayne Gretzky how to skate and stuff like that. But a lot of, like, I mean, for example, Gary, I was talking a few weeks ago to this old gentleman who was watching his son play, or I thought it was his grandson, but he was playing, trying out for goalie, or he's been practicing for goalie there. Huh. And I'm talking to this older gentleman for about 20 minutes. I walk away, and Dave Hansen comes up to me, and he goes, Ben, do you know who you were just talking to for like half an hour? I was like, no, who? He goes, oh, that was Jim Rutherford.
Wow.
Penguin GM. Yeah, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And he was laughing. He's like, I knew you didn't know. But, I mean, I wouldn't know him. I know him as his name, but I wouldn't have known him, you know, to see him. But he was just incredibly, you know, obviously he was apparently pretty down to earth and just really, really nice guy, and really humble.
Wow. Yeah, Penguins. How do they do this year? I mean, I know they had a really good season. Really, compared to what?
Yeah, in the first round of the playoffs, awful. They got swept in the series 0-4. So
wow.
They'll rebound. They just needed that rebuilding phase, I think.
Well, yeah. What they end up doing is rebuilding after they win. I mean, that's what's happening here with the Cubs. I mean, they won in 2016, but they're they're just rebuilding. But we got some new guys now, and they've been playing really good lately. We're like just a little over 500 or over 500 now.
That's cool.
I mean, we have Baez and all. They've been really. I see them getting back in another year, maybe.
You a Pirates fan?
I like the Pirates, but we don't get the games here that much. The only time I think I see one, it's nationwide.
Nutting needs to get out. He really does. He's just absolutely destroying that franchise. He's probably going to get them to end up moving or something, I could see.
Wow. They just had that. That's a beautiful, PNC is a beautiful park. I've seen pictures online.
I bet you, well, no, the time the Yankees came to town, that was pretty cool. I went for that game, but every time I go for the park. I don't go for the team.
Wow.
And it's, until they start investing, into the team, and like we had a really good run, like 4 or 5 years ago, we made the playoffs and had all these good people. They just don't want to, they can't pay them.
I watched those games
after 4 or 5 years.
Wow. Yeah, I watched those games. Like, what happened, That's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'll never be, the way... the great memories I have of the Pirates will always be 1979. And even when I was a kid, I was about 10 years old, 1971. Those were great memories for me. I mean, there'll never be another Roberto Clemente. No doubt about it. There'll never be another Willie Stargell.
Absolutely. I've heard that, I believe, if I can find this document, again, I've seen it before, but it was pretty much confirmation that the CIA might have had something to do with Clemente's plane coming down.
Really?
Yeah, because they didn't want him to help the Cubans or whatever.
Jeez.
Isn't that sick? And honestly, I believe it.
Yeah, I do too. Just...
I remember my mom saying when she would go to the games that his arms were just so long. He'd come up to the plate and his arms were so long, and he was so good.
Yeah.
But I always remember her saying that his arms were just so long. They were like down past his knees.
Wow.
But what a fantastic human being he was.
Wow, yeah, he was. I've seen interviews, rare interviews on video, and they're on YouTube. I don't know if they took them off, but it was the old gunner interviewing him too, Bob Prince. And
I'll have to check that out.
I used to listen to him on the radio. I'd be riding my bike. I lived by transistor radio. I'd be listening to Pirates. Yeah, great memories. KDKA, the Pirates. They're not doing on KDKA radio anymore, are they? KDKA doesn't do the Pirates anymore, do they?
They might. I think they still do. Because I always used to talk to Marty Griffin.
Yeah, and then you had... Yeah, that one guy, I used to listen to him right here in Clinton on, I could hear KDKA and TuneIn, and Mike Pentak. That's a shame. He was a great...
Pentak was good.
I mean,
he was good. That is a shame.
And, but the way I remember KDKA, though, was when they were music. I mean, Jack Bogut, he was a legend in Pittsburgh. Bogut, Art Palin... Those were my influences.
Yeah.
I mean, I had some favorites. I really did, and like I said, that's why what made me want to be a DJ on radio is KQV, because they had the window studios there downtown. And I had a dentist in Pittsburgh. Yeah. My parents used to take me out to Pittsburgh, and right after my appointment there, they would take me by KQV to watch in the window. And I said, I want to do this. So that was nuts, but...
Yeah, it's like something you just, you see, you're like, you know what? That's something that, I definitely want to do. It's like,
And, that's like... Rush Limbaugh is a KQV alumni. He's a DJ on KQV.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was Jeff Christie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gary, you know who one of my favorite DJs are now? If not the... He fills in a lot. He fills in a lot on Coast to Coast AM. Jimmy Church.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Church. I've listened to him. Yeah, he does.
That just reminded me of him, like with your story, because I remember him saying that he used to live like as a little kid, like real close to the Coast to Coast studios, and he always was like, "Oh man, I'd love to." And he's like, and I actually get to sit here and do it. He goes, "That's a dream come true." And
exactly.
He's just a fantastic host for sure.
Yeah, the catch him. He's just on the weekends, isn't he? Usually
I think
Nori's on the weekend because he doesn't do the weekends only maybe once a month.
Like until I get a transistor again, or shortwave. I mean,
I used to have a shortwave.
I'll be able to pick it up. I can't pick it up anymore. I have to listen.
Wow.
I'll listen to it on YouTube, but it's usually about 3 weeks behind.
Yeah, they're 3 weeks behind. The best thing for you to do is probably just to get into iHeartRadio and
just subscribe to them.
Tune in.
I know.
Tune in's free.
I need to.
I use Tune in all the time.
That's what my buddy did. He I think he said it's like $8 a year or something, but you could go back and download and burn onto the CD like every.
It's called Insider. You have it's a club. They advertise it all the time. You get it's for 1 cent a day. They give you that 1 cent a day thing, but they want you to subscribe to them for years and years and put a lot of money into it. Kind of like the Spreaker thing. I want to bump up to 3 hours, which is another. Well, I'm waiting for a discount. If I get a discount, then I can do this for $13 a month, which isn't bad. Right now, I'm on On-Air Talent, which is $5 a month. But they brought it up to $6 a month. And I get 45 minutes at a time, but I want to go 3 hours, so I don't have to stop.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's why I do this, where I run it offline for 30 minutes. And then when I go on the air live and I go to my local 9-foot signal, kind of a little FM signal goes like maybe around the property, and I run my own local breaks. So when I do that, I go offline for 5 minutes, and it picks up another 5 minutes, and I can stay on without having to go in, refresh, and hit another title and go back up.
Yeah,
it'll go for like almost an hour and a half to almost 2 hours without having to have to stop. Yeah, so that's why you'll see the title in there over and over again. I'm doing that. But I'm trying to get the 3 hour plan, and when I do, I won't have to stop at all. I could do a full 3 hours without having to mess with it at all. And I think that's why I don't get no audience, because they think I'm done after I do the 45-minute flip over.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, that definitely could be it.
So they don't come back and say, wait a minute, this guy's still on,
Yeah.
But that's the way it is. But thank goodness for Spreaker, because I don't think I'd ever get to do what I always wanted to do all my life. I felt cheated. And it's not that. It's just that I think it was because my parents were concerned that I'm going into a competitive business and I wasn't going to make much money, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to do this anyway. Yeah,
it's your passion.
So it was kind of where I had to just decide to do it on my own and try to. Yeah. I tried to get on the Ambridge radio station when I was real young, WNBA. But
that's cool. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, WNBA 1460, and back in the heyday, they were the music giant too. At one time, but they were only on the air during the day. As soon as in the winter, they would go off the air like at 5 o'clock. But in the summer, they would stay on until 8:45. Because they were a daytime license. They only were supposed to stay on until the sun went down.
Oh, okay.
And then, I guess shortly after I left home, I was told that they got the 24-hour license. They were allowed to stay on all the time. But now I see that they're merged with WBVP, and they are the two stations are combined.
Huh.
Yeah, 1230 WBVP and WNBA 1460 are combined. I have their website on my computer.
Well, I didn't even know.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I used to listen to our high school football games all the time on there. Whenever Quigley would be in the WPIAL championship that one year, I was in, I think I was a freshman. I went to Quigley. Their games were on WNBA. I could at least listen to it if I didn't get to go to the games.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's cool to know. I never knew that.
Yep. Well, thanks a lot for taking time out like that. Like I said, I don't want to get you fired from your job.
Oh,
no, explain to them that, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to stay home and be a guest on this talk show.
I just told him, I was like, I can't freaking, burn the candle at both ends and work 7 days a week. I got to have some time off.
Oh, yeah, I can understand that. I'm sure your girlfriend isn't really appreciating that too much.
No, I don't really care because I'm single now, so. And I'm loving it.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's a good thing. You just have to just enjoy life because you're young. Not that I invade on you. How old are you actually?
36.
Oh well, hey, see, you're young. I wish I was 36. I remember when I was 36. That was a long time ago, and that was a clean bill of health. But don't blow it by smoking. I'm telling you, man, because that messed up my heart. It did. I mean, now, and then everything else went foul on me, and I had this brain surgery, and then everything else is like now. I can only dream of being a good bill of health, and I probably will be when I go on the other side. Oh, I don't want to bore you with that stuff. But thanks a lot anyway. I love it when I get some listeners and get people on the air and someone to talk to on the air. It just makes it for a better show, and sometimes I even get some hits. Imagine that.
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely love talking. I just wish, I didn't, we could have been doing it, every week, but, with my job and everything. And,
I understand
but every chance
that.
I get, I love to be on.
I don't know if you're capable of doing that, but you should download the app that I was telling you about.
Oh, I did. I have it.
It's a studio app, and you can if you're just doing it for 15 minutes, you could do all kinds of stuff. You can have your own show. It'd be fabulous. I'd listen to it. It'd be interesting what you could put on.
That's what I'll talk about it next time, because it's still kind of under wraps as to what I'm doing, but I'm definitely going to start doing a podcast myself and have guests on and just talk about current events and stuff like that. And then I'm going to have it linked to a website that's going to have documentation, just full of truth and everything, and maybe one day out of the week have just a fun day of just comedy.
Between us two, it'd be pretty wild.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Because like I said, you can meet some of the other guys that I follow on here. What'd you think of Ed Delgado, the caramel conservative? He's the one that he's on Tuesday nights.
I haven't listened to him yet.
Yeah, he's 9 o'clock for you guys, 8 o'clock here. He used to be on 8:30, but I think he bumped it up a half hour. So he's
pretty good.
Oh, he does it. He's and this other guy. His name is the big fat soft underbelly. He comes out of Texas. This guy, he doesn't care about chat room. He just goes one after another. He's fabulous. You gotta listen to him too.
That's awesome. That's a heck of a name.
Yeah, well, his name is John, but he goes on the air as our big fat soft underbelly. And
that's cool.
It's all political stuff, and some of it's really good. Yeah, so I listen to other people on here besides what I do. I listen to other podcasters because sometimes we can bump off of each other. And there's this other guy that he has some problems. He's a handicap, but he is a smart boy, And his name is Bob Huber. He's from Illinois. He's from the Chicago area. He calls himself it's Bob Huber, the Huber Experience. This 15 minutes, but he packs it in, man. I'm telling you what. I pump everybody else's show besides mine.
Hey, have you ever listened to the Joe Rogan Experience?
No, I haven't. Is that on here? Spreaker? Or is that?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. I'll send you a couple episodes. My one buddy on my Facebook, Robert Reed, he been posting about him for a long time, and I'm like, I was always just didn't really care, but once you watch an episode of his, you're hooked. He is such a fantastic interviewer and host. He has a lot of. He had CEO Jack Dorsey from Twitter on, asking him a bunch of questions, like, hey, like, why the heck are you, censoring all these conservatives? He had Candace Owens on, Alex Jones, which is one of the most
Alex Jones. What do you think of him?
It's I've honestly been Alex Jones fan for probably 15 years almost, and I've never heard. If you actually have been listening to him a long time and stuff and know what mainstream media says about him and stuff is just straight up absolute nonsense and lies. He's not the best. He doesn't have the best delivery. That's what I don't like about him, that and his voice. But he has always been on point, and he's done one thing that mainstream media journalists do every day, and that's blatantly lie to the people. I have never in 15 years heard him say any lie.
Wow.
He's been wrong. I mean, nobody's
right.
Perfect, but for Tom Brokaw, when he was on air on NBC or whatever the heck, he was calling him racist. He's a racist. Like, I'm like, no, he's not. Like, it's incredible. I mean, they even said that he's the one that said that Alex Jones said that it was the firefighters who brought down the building.
Yeah, see, I've heard that before by other people as well.
Yeah, absolute lies. And now it's this poor Sandy Hook thing that's getting them. And the thing is, to any good, and he even says, he goes, yeah, it did happen. He just, he backed off, and I understand it. But anybody that does any research knows that Sandy Hook did not happen.
Huh. Yeah,
Gary,
that was about the time.
There's so many anomalies and just inconsistencies and lies and falsehoods and just ridiculousness. There's absolutely no way that any kid got killed there. Sandy
Hook was just around the time I started this Spreaker thing. That's when I first went on the air. Around that time. It was November, 2012, I think?
Yeah, it happened December 21st, 2012, I believe.
Yeah, that was about the time we were having that whole bit, and they thought the world was going to come to an end.
That's what. Did you ever see the bit with Robbie Parker? Like he was Robbie Parker. He's one of the dads from dads of one of the students that allegedly got shot and killed.
Yeah,
he's filmed. Like, it was that night, later on that night or the next night, and he was on national television. He was up at a microphone, and he's looking at somebody, and they're laughing, a full hard, I just said the funniest joke ever laugh, and he's just like, and then all of a sudden, he turns around to the microphone, and then he takes a deep breath. He's like, hi, I'm Robbie Parker. I mean, you can absolutely tell that was an actor getting into character, number one. Number two, if you look at, show me one tear from any one of the parents. They cry, but you'll never see a single tear. But it goes far beyond that. That's just surface level stuff.
Wow.
But if you look at the Wolfgang Halbig versus Sandy Hook trial, me and my ex-girlfriend watched it. It's 4.5 hours long. You'll be proven 100% that there's a huge cover-up going on.
Now, what about Columbine?
There was students that said that they seen 4 or 5 SWAT-looking people that broke through the skylight, shooting down.
Wow.
And that's from numerous students. And then all of a sudden, you go back to Klebold and Harris's room, and it's loaded with all these weapons. This is how we did what we did, and blah blah blah, and had CIA written all over the thing. But I didn't see it when it happened because I didn't know about that stuff back then.
Wow.
And that's where it comes to when, like, on Joe Rogan podcast, when Alex Jones was on, like, last month, he was explaining what he was going to say to the courts in his defense about, like, questioning Sandy Hook and stuff like that. And he goes, once you figure it out, and he hits the nail on the head with this, Gary. He goes, once you find out and uncover all the nasty, shady, cruel, crazy things and lies that the government has told us and did to us throughout the years, you have to question everything, And he's like, so how do you not question this? When they're trying to implement, a gun ban, they will conduct false flags to do it. Huh. And, and it's, and he has a valid argument there. Like, once you hear the government and find out how much they lied to you before, you have to. Now, he goes, there's a spectrum. You got the, people on this side. Or you got, like,
recent shooting, I think, here not too long ago at that one other school.
Yeah, it's slowed down a little bit, but it's still happening. It's ridiculous. But you got one side, like, all the way over here, where you don't question anything and you believe everything the mainstream media tells you. And then on the complete other side is question everything. And like Jones said, he goes, it's much healthier to question everything than it is to just blatantly believe everything that the TV and news tells you,
Wow. Makes me think about how the way
that's where vaccines come in. That's where vaccines come in, where I stand on vaccines, and why I don't really like to get into debate too much about it, because I don't know too much about it. But what I do know is the government, anything the government, like, wants to force upon you is just never a good thing. It just never ends up being a good thing, number one. Number two, I do believe some vaccines are good for you, and are, they should be not mandatory, but it's intelligent to get them. But I don't know what vaccines are bad, what are good. If they wanted to carry something through them, they would do it that way. That's absolute fact. But one thing I will never get is the flu shot. And if you look at what's in the flu shot,
the flu shot actually has the flu in it.
Exactly. And not only that, it has aluminum, it has formaldehyde, precancerous cells. But the fact that it's not even just that, it's the fact that it's only good for the strain of flu that came around 2 years prior. So every time you take it, it's irrelevant. It's going to be a different strain of flu that comes around. And that's going to not do anything. But what it does do to you is absolutely weaken your immune system, like, terribly.
Oh boy.
I don't think that's exactly where autism comes from. But it definitely could play a big role.
Wow. Another one.
That's why I'm on the fence with that. It's tough.
Another one, and of course, this guy's a good Christian friend of mine who has a show, and it's called Radio Hope, and that's Mike Myers. He's a friend of mine here from Iowa, and he's Boone, which is near.
That's cool. He was on
Des Moines.
Wayne's World.
This is a different Mike Myers, though. This is. Anyway, it's always fabulous talking to you, though, and we got to do this a lot more often. It's just, like I say, your job is important, and that should really come first in a situation like that. But let me know if you start something. We'll listen to that definite, and we'll have to do like a cross show. And then sometimes what I do is I got this little closed circuit 9-foot signal, and I usually play some of the best stuff that I have, the podcast that I like off Spreaker, and replay it on my closed circuit signal, and rerun them. So sometimes I do that too.
Gary, there's a very important thing that I forgot to tell you, and I'm really excited because I just remembered it now. What I want to do for my podcast, I wanted to have somebody, like, famous on for the first time to get it going. You know what I mean? I talked to somebody that knows Tom DeLonge, and he said if I do manage to get the VIP tickets for his Cleveland show, Angels and Airways, in September, he'll do like a 15-minute Q&A with me.
Wow.
on Yeah, like one-on-one in person. So I'm like super nervous and I'm super excited at the same time. The VIP pass is like $400, but it's well worth it.
That'd be fabulous.
And that'd be, yeah, he has very close ties to the CIA, and he's released, he was on Joe Rogan podcast not too long ago, and the stuff that he says, and that's a good thing. Joe Rogan could get you to open up, even if you don't want to, and I think he did that to Tom, and Tom said a little too much that day, but,
oops.
The scary thing is you can't, the CIA could be feeding him nonsense too.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah. CIA.
He could be a misinformation agent, is what they call it, which I really hope ain't true. But the stories he has is incredible, and in fact, if they are true, it's mind blowing.
Oh wow!
He said, "Alien." Listen to this, Gary. He said, "If this is true, this is just incredible." He said, "Right now, they found technology, alien technology, where you can like." What did he call it? A quantum redshift, and pretty much stop time, and you're like in a bubble type thing, and you could go around to somebody and take their Coca-Cola out of their hand and put it in somebody else's hand without them like knowing what happened. He said that's the technology the aliens have, like a part of it, you know. And if he's right about that, I mean, yeah, it could be a lie, of course, but if he's right, that's incredible. That's cool, you know.
I guess I've always been one of those that it would be fabulous just to go back, because I love this time. I do the fact that I can broadcast online and everything like that. But I tell you, there's times I like to go back to 1955 just for a little while. You know, just for a little.
Imagine having Spreaker in 55.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be wild. Definitely.
I wish that had to have been a heck of a time to grow up. Like, you guys have had, like, maybe one of the best generations ever.
And I was born in 61, which is about 4 years later, but 4 or 5 years later. I was born in 61.
That's close enough. I mean, you were still,
which was the very beginning of the Kennedy administration. That's why I don't remember Kennedy, because he was shot when I was like maybe 2, 3. So, you know. All I remember is my mother crying. I wouldn't understand why. But,
that's great. Wow.
So let's go back just to experience. And this is why I love that show, Quantum Leap.
A fantastic
That was an absolutely great series. Now, I don't know if you have Cozy in your area, but they run now, I think, on Sunday afternoon.
I had it on Netflix, and I finally watched the last episode. Have you ever seen the final episode of the show?
No, I didn't. But, I like to watch it in order just once.
That's
like, on Tubi.
I'll have to check that out. I haven't watched it in a while, but I did binge watch it last time when I had Netflix, and I finally got to the end. And it's probably one of the coolest finales to any show I've ever seen, simply because... like the whole show, like he always wanted to end up like leaping back home, like to himself. I guess the last episode you have to watch it. It is absolutely epic because he walks into a Pittsburgh bar that has Iron City, and it shows one of the bridges in the background. So he was himself finally, and he lived in Pittsburgh.
Sliders was another show I used to like, and that got me into alternate realities.
I always wanted to. Yeah, I heard that was good. I never watched it.
Yeah, that was another good, and that was the one with that British guy and these kids and everything. And he invented a way of going to parallel realities, and he went into this parallel reality where the traffic light was backwards. Red meant go, and green meant stop, and he gets It gets into an accident.
That's wild.
Yeah. And he goes to another parallel reality where the Golden Gate Bridge is a different color.
Wow, that's cool. I love stuff like that. It's so fun to just, And
imagine a parallel reality where the Twin Towers never got hit.
Yeah.
And Kennedy was still alive and Elvis was still alive.
I always wanted to, if I ever became a director of a movie, I would make a movie about if all like the greatest musicians and movie